Hi, the topic today is my husband thinks I take him for granted. My name is Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation, and we are here to help you as much as we are able to. I used to be a divorce mediator. I shifted my practice to helping marriages, and we are very successful because our whole thing is to get you from wherever you are now to having a happy marriage. One of the great ways to learn a lot about marriage the right way is by subscribing to this channel. So I urge you to do so. Also go to our website, themarriagefoundation.org. Now, about your husband thinking you take him for granted, chances are really good that he's right. And we're going to take a look at this. Now, I've written a couple of books, and in those books, and in our courses for men and women, I literally list 3 killers of marriage. And this is very important to you because the very first one is overfamiliarity. Overfamiliarity means that you get to know each other really well. I don't know if you have any siblings, but if you have a sister or a brother, you talk to them like you know them really well. And it's sometimes not very kind. And so this is taking people for granted. When we know them very well, our expectations of ourselves drop lower and lower and lower. We are literally rude with people most of the time. I'm not saying you are, but most of the time, we're rude to people who we know really well, while we're very polite and kind to people we don't know so well. Now, when you meet your soulmate and you start dating, wow, you're really at the top of your game. And most people literally think, well, that was when we were dating. Of course I'm not the same way. And this is a killer of marriage, is this overfamiliarity, where you get to know your husband so well. And it's the other way too. He's the same way with you. He's got to know you so well that you take each other for granted when the reverse is supposed to be true. What's the reverse? So if he knows you really well, or let's do it the other way, you know him really well, right? You can't deny that. You know him literally better than he knows himself. So knowing him, and you're married, and your goal in marriage is what? Your goal in marriage is to be happier every single day of your lives. It's also to open up your heart in a very safe space. I call it the sacred space of marriage. It's very safe. Only 2 of you are in there. So you know each other very well. You know him so well that you know what his likes and dislikes are. So here's a question that I'm going to ask you, and I'd like you to be honest with yourself. Do you take advantage of this knowledge of him to make him happier? If the answer is yes, then I don't know what is going on with him. Maybe he's not feeling enough love coming from you. Maybe he's not having enough sexual relations with you. These are 2 of the main, you might say, incentives that men have for thinking that their wife is taking them for granted. Do you still treat him to things? Do you still smile at him when you see him? Do you text him during the day and just tell him you love him? Probably not. And this is normal, but it's not good. Here's the thing. It's not your fault. I'm going to get into this right now. This is not your fault. Are you guilty as charged? Probably. I don't know you, but why would he be saying something if you weren't taking him for granted? And so the problem is that we grow up without any education about marriage. We do not learn about what is required of us. When you want to get your license, you know exactly to drive, you know exactly what is required of you. But when you get married, the only thing required of you is that you go down and get a license. It doesn't really make any sense. Because marriage is an amazing thing when you know how to, let's say, drive it. But it's very precarious to be married if you don't understand marriage. That's why I've written the books, and this is why I have the courses for men and women. So let's talk about this. It's really important for you to know, because you didn't learn this before. So I'm going to tell you, there's two primary reasons for getting married. One, you want to be happier every day of your life, just like I mentioned before. The second one, from my point of view, is way more important. You want to experience unconditional love. The way I typically put it is you get married to learn how to love unconditionally, because learning how to love unconditionally does not create a reciprocation. It doesn't get your husband to love you back. That stuff is all nonsense. What it does is it opens up your heart. Where does love come from? Love doesn't come from inside of you. Well, yes and no. But love doesn't, you can't manufacture love. You can experience love, but it comes from our Creator. And this is not a religious thing. And so when you give love, think of yourself as using your willpower, using your mind to open your heart, to allow love in order to give it to your husband. Now, the way it works mechanically is as you give it to your husband, and there's a lot of ways to do that, that love pours through you. It keeps filling up. It's inexhaustible. Love has no beginning and it has no end. And you have experienced that about love yourself. I know that you have. So when you learn to love unconditionally, and there's methods, then what happens is you start to feel this love. That's one important thing, because that's why you got married. And the other, you almost can call it a side effect, is that your husband will start to see that you love him. He won't feel the love necessarily. In fact, he probably will not. But that's a whole nother discussion, because the mind blocks the feeling of love. Love is too big. Our minds can't wrap around it. But he will see all the indicators that you love him. One of those great indicators is that you no longer take him for granted. So you might say that instead of stopping to take him for granted, we don't bother with that, because it's really hard to do, because it's just almost impossible. But what you can do is you could start to love him unconditionally, and in so doing, he will never feel taken for granted again. And that's the answer. So subscribe to this channel so you could learn about marriage. Get one of the books. Go to our website, themarriagefoundation.org, so you can really see what we have to offer, because the potential that you have in your marriage is amazing. You need to learn how to take advantage of that. I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. So like this video, leave a comment if you would like. I love the nice comments. I love the likes. And visit us again. Thank you for spending your time with me. I really hope that this was helpful. God bless and take care.